Well, hey folks, welcome back to another video here at the channel. I'm Aaron on a little day hike with my buddy Mike. And in this video, I want to give you some basic tips and tricks to get you started if you're new to the hiking world. You want to get out in the outdoors, you want to enjoy what all creation has to offer, but you're a little intimidated. What type of shoes, what type of pack, what type of equipment do I need or not need to get yourself out on the trail? And maybe you're on a tight budget and you don't want to go spend hundreds of dollars. You just want to enjoy the outdoors. Well, in this video, that's exactly what I want to help you with. I want to give you just a couple quick ideas, things to look for, maybe in your pack, a few equipment items, your footwear, to help you enjoy your time on the trail and in the outdoors. And so with that, we're going to jump into it here in just a moment after a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Is Combat Wipes, both an active,
and for us ladies, they make Gaia Combat Wipes.
Because folks, I discovered a long time ago that when you're out in nature and nature calls and you got to take a pit stop, it's good to have a good set of wipes so that you can take care of yourself and feel nice and refreshed to keep on trekking. And what's really great about these Combat Wipes is not only are they 100% biodegradable, so you know that you're not going to be hurting the environment when you use them, alcohol free, going to come with a good resealable lid.
And for us ladies, they're pH balanced and they contain aloe, cranberry, and calendula. They're perfect for when you're on the trail or out and about and need to take a pit stop.
So I invite you guys, go ahead and check out that hyperlink in the description box below to check out all the different products that are available by Combat Wipes. And it'll not only help to keep your undercarriage nice and clean, but it helps us continue to make content just like you're seeing in this video. And I think it's vital for a day pack when you're out there on your adventures. And so with that, let's go ahead and get to it. Right, and so the first thing I want to hit with you guys is your day pack. What are you going to carry? Water, equipment, maybe medical supplies, a jacket, some snacks, whatever it may be. Now, the world is full of all types of different day packs, from super technical, large and expensive, to ultra lightweight. My recommendation for anyone starting out on a day hike and getting into the outdoors is to look for something usually between about 18 and 25 liters. Less than 18 liters, it's going to be a little too small in my opinion, and something more than 25, not only is it going to cost you more, but it just becomes kind of this big bag flopping around, and you don't really need that for most day hiking experiences. And a few things just to look for in that day pack is not only to give yourself some good support on the shoulder straps. You don't want them to be really thin and flimsy. The other thing also would be to have a sternum strap. That really will help support, give you the tension that you need to help carry the load that you may be carrying in your bag. And the final thing is to have it be at least semi-rigid. There are some really inexpensive ultra light packs, but they have no structure to them. Get something that has maybe like a polymer board or some form of foam in the backing, just to give it a little more structure. Not only will it make it more comfortable with the gear inside the bag, so it's not hurting your back, but it will also be able to carry the load a little bit better. Now, your pack and footwear are probably the two most expensive items you're going to purchase, and you can expect to, on average, pay between about $50 and $70 for the type of pack I am describing to you. There's lots of different brands out there, and the hyperlinks that we're going to have for you guys below, I'll list a few of my favorites that I like and that I've seen really good success with, and we'll have that for all the equipment that you're seeing here today. But in this video, it's not so much about the equipment, it's more about the idea of each thing that we're going to be going over to help you guys get started. And since I just hit it, we'll go ahead and talk footwear real quick with you. The main thing is to think about, one, the tread of your shoe that you're going to be wearing. You don't want something that's really flat and slick, say like a pair of skate shoes or your favorite Converse. You want a little bit of lug to whatever type of shoe you may be wearing, and just that they're, supportive. You don't want them to be so ultra light that they don't really give you the support that you need in protection, particularly scrambling over rocks and different terrain. And you want that lug and that tread, because one of the easiest ways to get injured on the trail is by slipping and falling on loose gravel or other terrain. Just as a personal preference, as much as possible when I'm hiking, I like to have something that's like a mid-top that'll go around my ankle and just give me a little bit more support, but that's more of a personal preference for you, the user. The other thing to consider as a pro tip for you is it's great to have a pair of flip-flops or sandals at the vehicle when you're done with your hike, so that you can go ahead and take those shoes off that you've been using and gone miles and miles in, and let your feet breathe and relax a little bit. Makes it a much better trip home. So a trick I learned from my dad a long time ago, he's been doing this since the late 70s, early 80s, was to get a Ziploc baggie and throw in a little tube of sunscreen, throw in some bug spray or bug wipes, and some anti-chafing or blister cream. You have those three things with you and on you at all times, you'll be a happy trekker. 2 environmental mitigation things to think about would be, even though you're not planning on spending the night on a day hike, and even though you're not planning maybe to go out in bad weather, things can flip on a dime. You never know, even if it's supposed to be 90 degrees and, you know, sun's out and not a cloud in the sky, what happens if you have to spend the night? And sometimes storms roll in and, you know, meteorologists aren't 100% right. Well, I always make sure that I have some form of rain poncho and or waterproof or water resistant outer shell with me at all times. And usually when I can, try to get high vis. I mean, this is a little Coleman thing I picked up for like $1.99 or something at Walmart. And then some form of emergency blanket. Those are those kind of shiny aluminum style, you know, space blankets, heat blankets. Not only are they waterproof, so you can hunker down underneath somewhere and that will fight off the elements, but it also retains heat, so that if you were having difficulty maybe getting a fire started or something like that, you would have a lot better chance of surviving a night in the backcountry than if you did not have something like this. Now, a light day hike like what I'm currently on at the moment, have no plans to get a campfire going or spend the night. But what happens if I have to, if I'm forced to because of getting lost or the elements? Well, there are 7 ways to Sunday to make a fire, but I found it's just easy and reliable to go with a Bic lighter and throw that in a Ziploc baggie. If you really want to take it to the next level, throw some cotton balls or even some dryer lint in that Ziploc bag, and that you'll be basically set to go. Now, a lot of new hikers, even long-term hikers, sometimes all they do is like a little boo-boo kit, you know, for Band-Aids and some triple antibiotic cream, and that's better than nothing, and I encourage everyone to have that. But a few other small items can really make the difference. If you or someone that you love is with you that has any form of allergies or needs a certain form of medication, always make sure you have that with you. If you have an inhaler, you know, make sure that that's fully loaded, ready to go. EpiPen, you know, those type of things. But also having some painkillers and antihistamine in case, you know, there's an injury of some kind. And if there's a bug bite, a bee sting, you know, you run into some form of plant life that you didn't realize that you had an allergic reaction to. I think that's very important. But on top of that, I would also encourage you to look into a SWAT T tourniquet. It's basically a medical grade giant rubber band that can be used either as a medical compress if there's a laceration of some kind, but also can be used as a full-on tourniquet to cut off blood flow if there was a major injury. And it's very compact, it's very lightweight, and it's rather inexpensive. And there's some great tutorials on YouTube as well as other places that can really give you a good idea on how to use it. I've had to use one once myself on a buddy that really, when we finally got to the hospital after a bad laceration, the doctor said, yeah, you might have bled out if you hadn't had this on your leg. So I think that they're very important. Obviously, get training in the medical field. I'm not a medical professional by any means, but having something like that and just a little extra outside of just a boo-boo kit can really make the difference. It's always good to have some form of a compass with you. Now, here in the Rockies, I can cheat a little bit because I know that the mountains are always to the west. That means that the plains are to the east. I'm facing north right now, and south is to my back. And so it's pretty difficult to get lost in the Rockies. It can happen. I've known a few people that have had to spend a few nights getting turned around, but it gives it a little bit easier. But there are all places all over the world and all over the country that having a compass and knowing your direction points, I think, is very important if you get turned around, lost, or have an issue. And tied to that is an emergency whistle. An emergency whistle is super important because you can wear out your voice and your voice just doesn't travel as far as a really good blast on a whistle. Now, what about illumination? Again, maybe you want to start doing some hikes that kind of go into the evening, or you're going to start early in the morning, or again, a lot of this is mitigation stuff. You're hoping you never have to put a headlamp on, but what happens if you do? You get turned around and, you know, it starts getting dark. We did a hike last year where we went over the Continental Divide. It was about an 18-mile hike in one day. Epic hike, but we were hoping to get to the vehicle by about 7, and the sun was going to set around 8. We didn't get to the vehicle till almost 9 o'clock, and the sun was definitely behind the mountains, and it was very difficult to see the trailhead. And so just because we planned to get there earlier and we got turned around a little bit and, you know, took a wrong turn for a little while, ate up some time. And so we were all putting on our headlamps for that last maybe mile and a half that was downhill, a little bit treacherous. You're tired. You want to be able to see, and it would have made it a lot more difficult and taken up more time if we did not have our headlamps. So having hands-free illumination, I think, is really important, because what happens again, if you injure yourself, maybe you have to help somebody, or you have to, you know, scale up, climb up something or climb down something. You don't want to have a flashlight in your hand or having to put it in your mouth, and what happens if you drop it? It's good to have something on your head, hands-free. So one of the main things that we do here at the channel is test out and review edged tools, particularly pocket knives and fixed blades. And I really believe that when you're trekking, even if it's a simple hike just outside of town, or you're going miles and miles in the backcountry, having an edge tool is vital. And it can become a very addictive, very expensive habit, falling in love with edge tools real quick. But you don't have to break the bank to get yourself started into hiking. Just having something that is reliable, that in a pinch, if you had to do a little woodwork to get a fire going, or if you had to cut cordage or do something else, having something that can have an edge on it and can be reliable, I think, is super important. So examples would be like a simple Swiss Army knife. Gives you a couple extra tools as well, and you can get them from anywhere between $20 and $30 easily. Getting yourself a decent size Swiss Army knife, I think, would be a great investment. Going one step further, getting yourself a good robust pocket knife, you know, that will ride in your pocket very easily. Easy to deploy, that you feel comfortable with, has a good rounded full handle and a good broad blade there, can really do a lot of work for you in a pinch. But ultimately, there's nothing as tried and true and reliable as a fixed blade, a knife that does not fold and has a sheath. And one example of that, that's not going to break the bank, but that is trusted around the world, are Mora knives. These are made in Sweden. You can get them between $10 and $25 for a lot of their basic models. They do have a couple premium models that are available, but here's a companion with a thinner stock than the heavy duty, and this guy I think is like $15 over on Amazon, and a lot of other links that we'll have for you below. It's razor sharp, very comfortable, has a lot of capability, and has a really good lightweight sheath that you can attach to a belt or a pack, no problem. And any one of those would be a great kickstart to have some sort of edge tool with you that you could use in a pinch. Well, thirsty. You know, there's so many different water bottles out there, sources for water, but it's important to have plenty when you're hiking. And what I've found over the years, Nalgene is just my tried and true. They're really inexpensive. I think that this one was like $6, and they're rather lightweight, very durable, and have just stood the test of time. Now you can throw any other type that you want in there if you have a particular type that you like. Something to note that I've discovered over the years is that the cloudy ones like this that are not see-through have some give to them, and they're a little bit more durable than the rigid clear Nalgenes. Those are still very durable, but I've cracked one or two when fully loaded and I drop it from say 4 or 5 feet on the concrete. If it just lands in a perfect way, and you know, maybe it wasn't quite treated properly, I have broken those. So a little pro tip there, go with the clouded Nalgenes that you can't see through, and they tend to be more durable. And if you want to invest in a water bladder, that's a great way to carry a lot more water and make it a lot more accessible. Nalgenes, obviously, and other water bottles, you're going to have to take off your pack usually to get access to them, and over time you're going to probably want to carry a little bit more water the further you go out, and you want to get a quick accessibility. So there's tons out there that are available. A lot of them are good. What I've landed on, used a lot, are Source water bladders, and these will be in those links below. They're kind of middle of the road for pricing. They are really well built. I've never had any leaks with them, and they're very easy to clean as well. That's something to note. Never leave it, you know, overnight and, you know, a couple days in your pack and in your car, and then it can really kind of get funky and not taste good, and, you know, you might get bacteria or fungus and stuff growing, mold growing in your bladder. So bladders do take a little bit more maintenance than a water bottle, but they help with the amount of water and the accessibility to water that you take with you. Well, folks, I hope that you've enjoyed this video today. I know sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming, but I hope that this has boiled it down for you. Even if you latch on to a few ideas that I've shared with you today, I know it will help your outdoor experience and just give you more confidence to go further, see more of all that creation has to offer. So, folks, I invite you to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet subscribed, throwing up content like this every single week. You can follow us along on Instagram and Facebook as well. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.